Howdy, everybody. Back with another update on the Big Brother 27 live feeds, where we have been forced to watch Lauren have to try and make another decision, which she acts like is the most excruciating thing of all time. We saw this when she was HOH. We had to listen to her talk or struggle to talk. And now that she has the veto and has to decide if she wants to use it or not, it is more of the same. And while her strategy has been to try and lay low and not be a target, this lack of being able to make a decision is not strategy. And if it is, then it's stupid, because you have to think that socially it looks really bad when she can't make a decision like this. A decision that should be fairly easy either way. If she really wants Mickey to go this week that hardcore, then I suppose she could say screw her number one Vince. She's not going to use the veto. Vince is going to be safe anyway. However, if she really wants her number one Vince safe in the game, then the safest way to keep him safe is to use the veto. So if she could just decide, I suppose, what she wants to do in this game, then maybe the decision would be easier. But I guess she can't even decide that either. Just too many decisions for Lauren. We'll get back to that, though, because we've had plenty of annoyances today with this cast. I mean, what else is new? I don't even know where to start. We could start with Riley again, who continues to show his psychopathy. In a conversation with Lauren tonight, he was talking about how, ranting about Ashley. It's what the house loves to do about poor Ashley. About how in the middle of the night he wants to put something so that she can trip and fall on it, which seems pretty terrible to say. And then after saying, Lauren's laughing, of course, because she has no backbone. She's scared of all the women in the house, but not this creepy guy. Afterwards, Riley is looking at the camera saying, oh, you cut that on the live feeds, but it was not cut on the live feeds. It did come through. I just think this is more evidence of Riley being a piece of shit, really. I mean, you could say it's a joke, but when you add the evidence of how creepy he is with Kat, all the anger issues we always see bottling up, all this aggressive talks he's always had against women, it all keeps mounting up evidence that he is just some stank trash from Oklahoma. Anyway, we could also talk about Mickey, who continues to reap what she sowed. It's the same thing I talked about yesterday. It has been pretty nice to see all of her terrible gameplay start to fall back on her. I've been waiting for this to happen since 2 weeks ago when it became so cringe and hard to even watch her on feeds because she was just being so damn dumb. Ava today started off talking about Mickey to Will, complaining about the time last week when Ava was HOH, Mickey went to her, told her to her face that Ava's going to have to be a pawn. Ava then went on a pretty much 15-minute rant about Mickey today to Will. So that's Ava now spreading information about Mickey's stupidity a week ago. Morgan then told Ashley that Mickey throws Ashley under the bus. So not even Ashley wants Mickey to stay this week. Ashley's been going the hardest for Mickey this week because it would be best for Ashley's game to still have Mickey as a target in front of her, possibly, or maybe just a number. But with a number like Mickey, who does go around and throws Ashley under the bus, it's good to see Ashley find this out about Mickey as well. Ashley ranted to Will about this. Will doesn't like the way Mickey's been doing this either, seeming like she's trashing them, hurting their games while they go around defending her. She still wants them to defend her this week and try and get her to stay. But Ashley's not having it anymore, and that is nice to see. I still say it's best for Ashley's game for Mickey to stay because of the whole target. That's the only way Ashley's not going to be a target every single week going forward. is if Mickey stays this week. But it's not looking good for Mickey. She has to win the blockbuster now, or she is likely a goner, but it is her own fault, and this bad gaming is falling back on her today, and it's been very, very, very nice to watch. I am glad every single part of Mickey's game seems to be falling apart today. Back to Lauren, though, because God forbid she has to make another decision. I think Rachel probably made a mistake telling Lauren that she's not nominating the showmance if Lauren does use the veto. I feel like that was giving Lauren too much information, because if she wouldn't have committed, Lauren would have been 100% too afraid to use the veto. Maybe that was Rachel messing with her, though. I still think there is a possibility that if the veto is used, Rachel puts up Riley. She's been dropping hints her entire HOH so far about how everyone likes Riley. She threw Riley under the bus to Keanu today, like I said in my video this early afternoon. Keanu, of course, didn't listen because he trusts Riley 100%, and Keanu doesn't know how to listen to a woman because he only likes men's opinions. But if Rachel didn't want the veto to be used, which she doesn't seem to, the best way to get that done was to not tell Lauren that the showmance isn't going up, because she should know Lauren's very close to Kat. At least that's the way it looks, and it is true. And with Kat comes Riley. But because Rachel told Lauren that, I think Lauren is wanting to use the veto more now. Lauren wants to make sure Vince is for sure safe this week. That is her number one. Keanu, at one point during the night, may have been the one to try and talk Lauren out of using it again, which does help Rachel not have to use the renom. That was, I think, Keanu trying to do good work for Rachel. However, in typical Keanu fashion, he gave Lauren too much info about where Rachel stands in the game and who she would or wouldn't nominate. Although Keanu's wrong, Keanu's telling Lauren that it has to be either Callie or Ashley. I just don't see Rachel putting up Ashley, especially now that Ashley went to Rachel tonight, talking to Rachel about having doubts about Mickey now. It's either Callie or Riley. That's the only way I see it if there is a renom. Now, Vince just spent the past hour or more talking to Lauren, trying to get Lauren to use the veto on him, as he should. That's supposed to be his number one, although Vince has a lot of number ones in this game. Vince is throwing a lot of people under the bus to make sure this veto is used. He is telling her things like Callie said she might put Lauren up if she wins HOH, because that was a doubt of Lauren. Lauren doesn't necessarily want Callie to be the renom, because there is a possibility that Callie goes home and not Mickey or Morgan. So that was sly of Vince to throw that information out there about Kelly to try and get the veto used on him. Vince did such a good job that eventually Lauren said she would use the veto on him. But of course, in typical Lauren fashion, minutes later, changing her mind again. She's now saying she wants to make a decision by the end of the night, but we've seen this play out before. She said the same thing to Adrian when she was HOH, that she would for sure let him know by the end of the night if he would be a renom, and that didn't happen. It wasn't until the next morning, right before nomination, the renom, that she told Adrian that he was the renom and then nominated him. So who knows when Lauren will actually make that decision. She'll probably still be making up her mind by the time the veto ceremony starts, knowing her. That she has struggled to make decisions in this game, and it's why I said in yesterday's video, I just can't see how Lauren wins this game when she has to plead her case at the end of the game about why she should win. Is she going to be able to even talk about it, for one? And is she going to be able to show the decision she made that should make her win the game. I struggle to see that. Now, I don't know if it's the bias for Rachel and the Big Brother fandom going on, or if the Big Brother fandom is as slow as this cast, but everyone on social media is like, it's ballsy not to use the veto. That's what I've been seeing. Kat was the only one that was ballsy to not use the veto last week. Well, first of all, Kat didn't have anyone on the block that she would have wanted to save. But second of all, this is Big Brother. And when your number one is on the block, or even a closer ally, it's always more ballsy to use the veto on one of your main allies. I said this yesterday, I'll say it again. The play is for Lauren to use the veto on Vince. Something could always go wrong. And yes, they probably do have the numbers they should. They have Lauren voting Kat, Riley, Keanu, Kelly. But Kelly is a wild card. The crazier things have happened. Kelly doesn't play strategically. She doesn't have a social game. She's not even just like vibes. Kelly just does random things in this game, so you never know what she's going to do. I would assume she definitely wants Mickey out over Vince, though, if it comes down to those two. I would assume the same with Vince and Morgan, although Morgan has tried to put in work with Kelly. Is it enough to make Kelly make a random decision to vote out Vince? Probably not. But it's still always the safer option to have the veto used on your number one ally. That's just facts. And I know the fandom doesn't want Rachel's nominations messed up. And I too still think Mickey is the one that needs to go. As I said in my video today, Mickey staying only helps Riley the most. And I'm sick of Riley being in the best position for literally no reason. Like, the showmance of Riley and Kat is so icky. Such a gross man's. One of the worst I've ever seen. They've done the bare minimum game-wise, though, and are still in the best position because this cast doesn't make any sense. So, yeah, I still think the play, though, is Lauren used the veto on Vince. Vince is right in his pitches to Lauren. The house already sees them as a duo, so it's not like she's showing cards. She's just making a right Big Brother move when it comes to the veto. And they're already plotting against Rachel next week. So you mess with her noms this week. Yeah, she might know people are coming for her, but she can't win HOH anyway. So I don't know why. Well, I do know why. This is just a cast that plays scared. They play very, very scared, and Lauren is the one that plays the most scared. So I would be surprised if she actually uses the veto. But Vince does a good job of trying to convince her. So this will prove to me how good of a player Vince is. If Vince could get through to one of the most scared players in the game and get her to use the veto on him, that's impressive to me. Even though it shouldn't be that impressive because they're supposedly each other's number ones. But with how scared this cast plays, that would be a big deal in my book for Vince's gameplay.